and welcome to Pilates with Olivia. I am Olivia. I am a Mat Pilates instructor based in North Yorkshire. I am hoping that these videos are going to help you keep up your Pilates practice between lessons, or perhaps you've never ever done Pilates before, you've wanted to give it a try but maybe not felt confident or been able to find the right class for you. I tend to stick to the more classical Pilates movements with some contemporary Pilates in there. So today we will be working on things like our shoulder bridge, our roll back, as well as some of the more fundamental Pilates moves like our thread the needle and our 4-point kneel. So without rambling on, I'm going to get started. If you have a mat, fantastic. If it's a thin yoga mat, please try and make sure that it's rested on something soft underneath. For Pilates, when we do the roll back, we want to make sure the spine is nice and cushioned to protect the spine, but also to prevent any bruising and things like that. So if you don't have a nice squashy mat, just make sure we're using something soft underneath the surface, whether it's a rug or a carpet or something like that. So we're going to get started. We're going to come down into our 4-point kneel to begin with. So what we want is our knees to be underneath our hips. Our knees are hip distance apart, and we really want to make sure that that knee is under the hips. So we're making a tabletop position with our body. Our arms are coming underneath our shoulders, and we're splaying the hands and the fingers out as wide as they can, taking a slight grip with the fingertips. We're pushing the ground away with our chest, so we're not sunk into our shoulders and letting our head drop. We're pushing around, so we've got that strong engagement through our core, through our torso. We're scooping the area behind our belly button up towards our spine, helping us to engage that deep core. So here is what we call our neutral spine. So our pelvis should be level. We've got a slight rounding in our shoulders as we have that chest engagement pushing the ground away. And this is our 4-point kneel position. Now to start with, to warm our spine up, we're going to do some cat-cow stretches. So I want you to dip the lower back, round the shoulders and look up with our head. Inhaling through our nose and exhaling out through pursed lips. We round through our spine, pushing the ground away, arching our back now, letting our head tuck in as we move through our cat-cow stretches. Moving through these at your own pace. Arching and dipping that lower back before we push round, arching away. Starting to focus on our spine and noticing how it feels. Maybe we feel quite mobile. Maybe our spine feels like it can't move one vertebrae at a time. So we want to really focus on moving through those movements. We're going to do one more. Finding that neutral spine again, so the starting position we had. So we've got a slight engagement through our shoulders, pushing the ground away, and our lower spine is, people say flat, it's not exactly flat, but we can envision it as being flat. Now we're shifting our weight into our left hand slightly. As we float our right arm up to the ceiling, we let our gaze follow. Inhaling at the top, we exhale through the mouth, we draw the arm down so the top of the hand slides along the mat, going between our supporting hand and knee. We sit back slightly with our legs as we drop the side of our head and shoulder down onto the mat. This is called our thread the needle stretch. Inhaling at the bottom and enjoying that stretch for a moment. Before we unthread the arm, floating the arm up towards the ceiling. Inhale at the top, exhale, we take the arm down and through again. We're just doing 2 here. But if it feels good for you and in your own time, you want to do more, that's absolutely fine. Inhaling, we're unthreading the arm, placing that right hand down onto the mat, making sure it stays beneath our shoulder. We float the left hand up towards the ceiling, letting our gaze follow. Inhaling at the top, we exhale, take the arm down, drawing the top of the hand along the mat as we take it through between that supporting hand and knee, resting our head and shoulder down onto the mat. Remembering to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth. We inhale, unthread that arm. Exhale, floating our hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale, and exhale, we draw that arm down and through again. Well done. Unthreading the arm, placing the hand down onto the mat. Now we're staying in that strong 4-point kneel position, scooping the area behind our belly button in and up towards our spine. If the wrists feel really uncomfortable here, you've got the option to come up onto the knuckles. That's absolutely fine. We're going to either keep the top of the feet flat on the mat or tuck our toes as we hover the knees just slightly off the mat. We don't want to be all the way up here. We want to just have them a few inches off the mat. We're keeping that core strong and we're holding here for our knee hover for 10, 9, remember to breathe, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. Lowering those knees down, untucking the toes, maybe coming up onto the knees, taking some slight wrist rolls out if that felt heavy on the wrists. Now coming back into that 4-point kneel position, we're lowering our left forearm now down onto the mat, but keeping our right hand flat on the mat with a slight bend in our elbow. Our body will twist here slightly, but we want to try and keep our pelvis square down onto the mat. You're then going to extend the right leg out long and low behind you. Almost think about dropping that right hip to help us keep square. Then we're starting with our lifts and lowers. I feel like my mat's curled up. Yes, it has. As we lift and lower the leg, reaching the leg out long behind you, pointing the toes if we can, really focusing on just moving our legs so our body is staying strong here. We're going to do 2 more, 1 more. Now keep that leg lifted. Now we're bending the knee, bringing the knee through as though we're trying to reach it through between our shoulders. We're tucking our chin and pushing the ground away here slightly. As we inhale, we exhale, we take that leg back. Inhaling, we draw that knee through. Exhale as we push the ground away, crunching through in the middle. Inhale and exhale, taking that leg back. We're just doing 1 more. Inhale, exhale, taking it through. Keeping that leg lifted, we're now drawing an arch or a rainbow with our foot. So we're taking it round to the side. Really working on our hip flexors here, as well as the mobility in our hip joint. All the time, keeping that core strong and breathing in through our nose, out through our mouth. We will cover the Pilates breath in a moment, but we want to remember that inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. We're lowering that knee down, coming up onto the other side. So we're coming down onto our right forearm, taking a slight bend in the left arm. I don't know what's going on with my hair. And then we're extending the left leg out long and low behind us. Remember that cue to almost drop the left hip to try and keep our pelvis square onto the mat. We start with our lifts and lowers. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Lifting and lowering. We're doing 2 more. 1 more. Keep that leg lifted. Now bending the knee, drawing it through to the middle, pushing the ground away as we tuck the chin, taking it back. Inhaling through the nose as we bring that knee in. Exhaling as we take that crunch, taking it back. We do 1 more. Now drawing that arc or that rainbow with our leg. Really helping get our hips mobile here. Rounding through. And just do 1 more. Well done. Then lowering the knee down. We're coming up into our 4-point kneel, but just gently bringing our toes and heels together, widening our knees. We're pushing back into our child's pose stretch. So we're reaching the hands forward, letting our body sink down to the mat. Just enjoying that stretch here for a moment. Well done. Now coming up to sitting. Gosh, my hair is so fluffy today. And then we're going to come to be laying on our back on our mat with our knees bent and the feet flat on the mat. We want to have our hands down by our side with our palms facing down. We should be able to feel our ankles with the tips of our fingers. If you can't, then draw the ankles in a little bit. We want our knees and our legs to be hip distance apart, so the legs aren't together like so, they're hip distance apart, and we should be in what's called our neutral spine. So we have a slight gap between our lower back and the mat, and we can feel our head, shoulders and pelvis feeling heavy on that mat below us. Again, we want that core engagement, so we're focusing on our torso and just gently wrapping our muscles into the center here, so we get that core engagement. Now, for a moment, I want you to place the hands, one hand on the ribs and one hand on the stomach, and close the eyes for a second. We're going to take a really nice big inhale through the nose, and then exhale out through the mouth, through pursed lips. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out as though you're blowing out a candle. Noticing on your next inhale, as we inhale, the ribs open up and expand outwards, and as we exhale, those ribs draw down and we should feel our abs knitting in or zipping up. This is our Pilates breath pattern, so the inhale through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. I'd like you to remember in Pilates to exhale on effort. So when we exhale, we get that core engagement, but it also helps our movements flow better. So we get that fluidity that we're aiming for. So you'll see as we progress on and as we do more Pilates movements, when we do the roll up or when we do our rolling like a ball, really using that breath, the inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, really helps us to move up. In fact, in some of the moves, if we don't exhale through the mouth, it can make a movement almost impossible, particularly with the roll up. So we're opening our eyes if they were closed, bringing awareness back into the room. We're starting with our pelvic tilts. So what I want you to do is imagine that there is a clock face on your pelvis. So your belly button is 12 o'clock and the pubic bone is 6 o'clock. Our hips are 9 and 3 o'clock. Now at the moment we're in our neutral spine, so we've got that slight gap between our lower spine and the mat. We've got an imaginary marble resting in the middle of our clock face. Now I want you to roll that marble up towards 12, so we're imprinting our lower spine into the mat, peeling our pelvis up slightly so our tailbone lifts. Pausing there, then we roll that marble down towards 6. So we make the gap between our lower spine greater as we tilt our pelvis and push that tailbone into the mat. Rolling through these movements for a moment. So we're rolling that marble up to 12 to our belly button, peeling that tailbone off the mat slightly, then rolling through to make that gap bigger on that lower spine, rolling through our pelvic tilts. We want the chin to be tucked here slightly. And then pausing with that marble in the middle, so we're finding our neutral spine again. Now I want you to roll the marble from 9 to 3. So I'm going to start with lifting my right hip up slightly, lowering down slowly and with control. These are tiny movements, but when we slow the movements down and really focus on those little adjustments, it helps us bring awareness into our body and also the function of how everything works. This means as we go on to our other movements in time, we have greater awareness of our body and those muscles that we're aiming to engage. Finding that neutral spine again. Now we're rolling the marble up towards 12, so rolling it up towards our belly button and imprinting our spine. Our hands are placed down by the side of us with the palms facing down. We're now continuing to peel our pelvis up off the mat, trying to roll one vertebrae at a time as we come up into our shoulder bridge. So we're rolling onto the tips of our shoulder blades, really engaging that core and taking a slight squeeze of the glutes at the top. Now, we want to feel strong in that shoulder bridge, so we're tucking our chin. Now I want you to try and connect the front of the ribs and the hips to be closer together. So we're not flaring through the ribs, we're drawing down at the top. We're pausing here, then we inhale, exhaling out through our mouth, we roll down one vertebrae at a time. Peeling down onto the mat, taking a slight tilt, anterior tilt with our pelvis at the bottom. Before we inhale and exhale, we imprint that lower spine, tucking our chin, rolling all the way up into our shoulder bridge again. Squeezing the glutes at the top, trying to bring that front of the hip and ribs together. It's a funny cue that, but when you feel it, it will feel like, oh, I get it. But it's maybe a bit advanced to start with, but anyway, I'd rather tell you and you can see if you can do it. Inhaling, exhaling, we roll down. One vertebrae at a time. We're going to just do one more here. So we're inhaling through our nose, Imprinting that lower spine, continuing to peel our pelvis up off the mat. Lovely. Pausing here. Now can you lift the heels so we come up onto the balls of the feet, toes? Lowering back down. We're inhaling, rolling down with control. Beautiful. Well done. Now, staying in that neutral spine position with our chin tucked in slightly. We're floating the right leg up into our tabletop, then bringing the left leg. So we want the shins to be parallel down to the mat as they're lifted up into this sort of 45-degree angle. We're scooping our core in, so we've got that core engagement. We're inhaling, we're toe tapping the right toes, then the left. Slow and controlled movement. And when we slow the movements down, our muscles have to think a lot more, and we really have to use our core. I feel like I've chosen a funny position on the mat, but anyway. Lovely. One more. Now we're bringing our hands behind our knees with the palms touching our thighs. We're going to rock our pelvis as we tuck our chin. We're inhaling and exhaling, coming all the way up to sitting. These spotlights are really bright, so I feel like my eyes have gone funny. But anyway, we're sitting up as tall as we can. So our knees are bent and our feet are flat on the mat. We're going to do our C-shaped spine and see if we can do a roll back. So this is when we're going to really use our breath to come up to sitting. So we're sitting up as tall as we can, keeping those hands behind our knees, rested flat on our thighs, floating the arms up out to the side. So we're making an oval shape with our body. We're inhaling at the top, sitting as tall as we can. We're exhaling out through the mouth as we tuck the chin, rounding back as we C-shape the spine. So we're rolling back onto our pelvis, scooping our stomach back, going to a point we feel we can't go anymore. We take a big inhale through our nose, then we exhale, we come all the way up to sitting. We're going to do 2 more of these. So find that length at the top, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, sitting up as tall as we can. We take an inhale through the nose, exhale, we tuck the chin, rounding down through the spine, exhaling through the mouth. Pausing where we feel we can't go anymore. We inhale, exhale, we come up to sitting. We do 1 more. Pausing, use that breath, inhale, exhale, we come all the way up to sitting. Now we're extending the arms out in front of us. We're sitting up as tall as we can. Same movement again, and when we get to that point we feel we can't go anymore, we roll all the way down to the mat with as much control and fluidity as we can. So we're sitting as tall as we can. Inhale through the nose, exhale, we C-shape, curve our spine, rolling back to that point we feel we can't go anymore. Then continue to roll back slowly and with control, floating our arms up over our head. Whoops. Before we inhale, hopefully you've got more room than me. Exhale, we bring the arms up. Now we've got the option here to try and roll all the way up to sitting. So I want you to take a big inhale through your nose, exhale, tuck the chin, peel all the way up off the mat. If that doesn't feel possible for you, then what we're going to do is roll our arms over, lift our legs up into that tabletop position. We're scooping the core in and up, so we've got that strong sort of corset around our waist. All of our muscles are engaged. We're inhaling and then exhaling, we're coming up to sitting. So choose the one that feels right for you. So we're rolling back, so we're sitting as tall as we can, inhaling through our spine, exhaling, we're C-curving back, continuing to roll all the way down to the mat. Floating our arms overhead. If you need to bend those knees and lift them up to tabletop, do. If not, we're inhaling. We're exhaling through our mouth. We're rolling back up, coming all the way up with control. Well done. Lovely. Now we're going to do our rolling like a ball. So rolling like a ball is a really good core engagement exercise, but it also massages out our spine and is one of the classical Pilates moves, as is the roll up that we just did then. You can also do the roll up with extended legs out in front of you as well. Some people find it easier, some people find it harder, so you've got the option to try it with that, but I'm conscious of time, so we're going to move on. So for our rolling like a ball, we're hugging our knees into our chest, taking hold either of our shins or our ankles, whatever feels best for you. So our start position is sitting up as tall as we can on our sit bones, hugging our knees into our chest. We're then rocking back onto our pelvis slightly as we hover our feet off the mat, hugging our knees into our chest and tucking our chin in. So we're making our body as tight sort of ball as we can. We inhale as we roll back, and then we exhale, roll all the way up to sitting, keeping our feet hovered off the mat. So we're inhaling, exhaling, coming all the way up to sitting. We're going to do one more. Exhaling, coming up. Well done. Now we're taking hold of the right knee as we extend the left leg away from us. We're inhaling and rolling back. So we come into our single leg extension start position. You've got the option here to keep the chest lifted, but we want to make sure we're not pulling from the neck, that the lift is coming from the chest and the ribs. If that feels too strong for you, which is an advanced, more of an advanced movement, you can lower the head down onto the mat, keeping that knee hugged in. So we're going to inhale, exhale, we switch that leg. So we're drawing the left knee in, extending the right leg away. Inhaling and exhaling. Slow and controlled movements. I'm a bit wobbly today because I've not had any lunch. Exhaling and taking the legs away. I'm going to have a sandwich after this. Lovely. Hugging those knees into the chest, lowering the head if it was lifted, taking a slight rock out side to side. Well done. Lowering the feet down onto the mat. We're then coming over to our side. So we're going to support our head with our lower arm, bending the knees so that our feet and our ankles are almost in line with our glutes and our spine. So we're really drawing those legs back. We're taking our top hand and placing it on the mat in front of us, and then extending our top leg out away. We're starting with the lifts and lowers. Now we don't want to be lifting the leg as high as it can do. What we want to focus on here is the length through the leg and resistance. So I want you to imagine we've got a resistance band around the thighs, and as we're lifting up, we're pulling against that resistance as though someone's pushing down on our leg as we're trying to lift it up, and then we're lowering down with control. Remembering to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, keeping the body as still as possible as we lift and lower. Now pausing at the top, we're flexing the foot, lowering the leg, pointing the toes to lift. Flex, lower, point, lift, flex, lower. It will start to burn. We do one more. Then we're pausing just above hip height. We're pulsing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It's burning me. Bring that knee in front of you, take a tap out of the glutes. Well done. Now we're coming up onto our forearms. So we're pushing the ground away here with our body. So what we don't want to be doing is sinking into our shoulder. We want to really push the ground away and keep our body as strong as we can. We're taking our hand on top of our hips and we're scooping that knee up and out as we do our clam. Inhaling and exhaling. This is working on our hip flexors as well as our core strength by keeping that body lifted up. We'll just do 2 more. This is why you realise I can't count. Last one. Lovely. Now coming up onto the other side, we're going to even it out and then we'll be ending. So we're supporting our body with that left forearm down on the mat. We're keeping our, no we're not, sorry, we're supporting our body with our hands down on the mat to start with, keeping our knees bent and our feet and heel in line with the mat. This is where your workout, not much editing goes on. We're extending that top leg out away from us as we lift and lower. Pointing the toes initially, reaching that leg out long, remembering to create that resistance in the leg. So we want to really have that mind-body connection. So our body is thinking about our leg and our muscles, and we're engaging our entire body as we're reaching the leg long and lifting away. pointing the toes if they will, as we lift and lower. Remembering to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Pausing at the top, we're flexing the foot. We lower, point, lift, flex, lower. I was teaching last night and this morning, and it's really burning my hips today. So I hope you're feeling it as well, and it's not just me. Lift, flex, lower. Pausing just above hip height. We're pulsing here, keeping the body as still as we can for 10, 9, 8, remember to breathe, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Lower that knee in front of you. Take the fist and take a tap out of the glutes. Now we're coming up onto our forearm. So we're resting on our forearm with our knees bent, pushing the ground away with our body so we're not sinking into our shoulder. We're really pushing up out and staying strong in our torso. Taking our hand on top of our hips. As we scoop the knee up and out, we do our clam. Noticing how one side of the body might feel different to the other or have a different range of movement. This is where Pilates is really good, because when we isolate the movements and focus on one side at a time, we can really see the differences perhaps in our range of movement or our flexibility, and see where we maybe need to do a little bit more stretching, or just being aware of our body and the differences. We do one more. Lowering down. Well done. Now we're going to come into our cool down. So we're going to do our Z sit. So we're using the long edge of the mat if you have one, and you're using it today as our guide. So we want our knee, shin and top of our foot to be along that long edge of the mat, and then we're bringing our other leg round to make like a box with our legs. We're placing our hand down to the side as we inhale, and exhale we stretch over to the side, maybe dropping onto our forearm if we can. If not, don't worry. Inhaling, coming up to center. Exhaling, we're taking it round to the other side. Really pushing down with that opposite sit bone to deepen stretch. Inhale, we go to this side. Exhale, we're coming over. Pausing in the middle. Now we're bringing what was our back leg to the front and taking what was our front leg to the back. Using that long edge of our mat as our guide to get that straight leg along the front. Now placing our right hand down to the side, we inhale. Exhale, taking that arm over. Inhaling, we're coming up to center, stretching over. Inhaling, stretching over. Exhaling, we're going to the other side. We do one more. So today we've done a little Pilates flow, focusing on some of the classical Pilates moves. Hopefully I've explained them well and you've enjoyed it. Bringing that back leg to the front. We're going to either end with our legs crossed, or if you can't cross the legs, bring them out in front of you with the knees bent, and whatever feels more comfortable. We're going to take a spine stretch. So we're going to take our right hand onto our left knee, bring that left hand to the back, looking behind us. Before we inhale, coming over to center, bringing our left hand onto our right knee, looking back. Inhaling to center. One more. And well done. We can end there. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far, I hope you've enjoyed that and it made sense. Please do feel free to leave me a comment or get in touch with me to let me know what you'd like to see more of, or if there's anything you want me to explain in more detail. And I can also do videos breaking down each move if you want to really refine the form for anything. So yeah, thank you for being here. Hopefully there's more coming, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and well done on your Pilates journey.